Hey everybody, and welcome to the Bonehead podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Welcome back. I'm Ben, and once again, I'm joined by Bloodtithe Ben.
Hello.
How you doing, man? You okay?
Yeah, really good. Keeping well. Keeping indoors.
Surviving the apocalypse?
Yeah, aren't we all? It's good though. Lots of hobby.
Hiding inside and doing some painting, hopefully.
Yeah. I'm sure most people are.
Fantastic.
Well, most people listening.
Even I have hobby on the go, which is absolutely great fun.
That's so good.
Silver lining in everything.
Yeah. That we can.
Exactly. Right. Thanks very much for coming on the show again, Ben. Can you tell us what we're talking about on episode 40?
We're going to be talking about 11s teams in Blood Bowl 7s. We'll look at the top ways to play Blood Bowl when you're stuck inside. And we've also got the usual games, hobby, and star players.
Fantastic. Right. Let's move on to news. Okay, so first thing we do is we look at Blood Bowl news. And there's only a couple of bits to touch on today. Which makes sense. The world is kind of on lockdown, so there's a lot of miniature companies that are kind of on hold. Even Games Workshop aren't doing orders at the moment, are they?
No, it's I don't think we've had any news of when they're coming back. I think, was it like mid-April was the estimate?
I think it was lining up with the UK's lockdown, but I don't think we've had any more news from Games Workshop or anything. I mean, the companies, they're in Spain, so Fanath, actually, we'll talk about this first. So I backed the Fanath Dwarfs. I think you did as well?
Yeah.
And the expected delivery time for those was June. So I was just on Kickstarter checking for Kickstarters and looked at them, and they said actually things have been put behind on schedule because of the lockdown. And I was like, oh no, can I? Because I wanted to pick up a Croxagore from them, because I think the Croxagore I think it fits the Lizardman team better than the Windsor Chog one that I've got, which I got for my Slan team. But I'm painting up a Lizardman team for 7s, so I've got the lizards, but the Croxagore doesn't fit as well. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, the Croxagore is invisible because it is bright green. So yeah, with the lockdown, we're not sure what's happening with those. So I imagine that's slowing down the Blood Bowl news a little bit, but there's still a couple of things to touch on. So the first bit is, I just wanted to give a check-in on the Artemis Maidens, the fantasy football team. This was the Amazon Greeky one that's basically an Amazon team. And I know we looked at this when the spoilers came out, Ben, but I don't think we looked at it since the Kickstarter went live.
Okay, yeah, I think I might have seen it in my own time, but yeah, I don't think we spoke about it on the podcast.
Yeah, because we were talking about which team's coming next, and a lot of people said Amazons, and a couple of people said, I'm not waiting for Amazons because I have got the Artemis Maidens. So this is on Kickstarter, and it's on Kickstarter for another 15 days. So it is Sunday the 26th of April that it finishes funding, so this episode will actually be out with plenty of time for you to go and have a look. It's Artemis Maidens Fantasy Football Team by... Where is it by? Jose Mox Creador Grafico. So actually, if you just search Artemis Maidens Fantasy Football Team, or just search Fantasy Football on Kickstarter, this will come up. So at the moment, it's sitting at £4,900 against a pledge level of 5,260. So it's about £300 short at the moment.
I think it'll make it.
I would imagine so. The sculpts are pretty good. Okay, let's have a quick look. So the teams themselves. So you can pledge £5 and you can get add-ons, which is pretty standard. Delivery time for these is currently December 2020, but again, we don't know if that's going to be delayed at all. So £69 is the early bird. So £61 or €69 is the full team, which is 16 high-quality resin miniatures. That's 8 linewomen, 4 blitzers, 2 throwers, and 2 catchers. And then, does that include expansions? No, the full team. And then you've got a larger one, which is £79. The Goddess Favour with 16s, and then an exclusive miniature and 1 unit of the unlocked stretch goals marked with the moon arrow. So they're kind of boosting up the stretch goals as they go. But let's have a look at... Can we have a look at just the ordinary line women? Full team. So what they've kind of done is they've made all the miniatures unique from the looks of it.
Yeah, they've all got a lot of their own personality.
So we can see the team here. So they kind of look larger than life, and they're kind of. We did talk about these before, didn't we? But I think
Yeah,
it was when they were sports. So you've got like a Hercules, He-Man looking one. You've got a Wonder
guy with
Woman.
like a mirror, which I really like.
That's right. Yeah. So removes it. There he is. Narciso, the guy with the mirror.
Yeah,
Polariste. They're pretty. Well, they're well sculpted. They're digitally sculpted, and they've done really well. The movement in the models seems to be pretty good as well. They all look creepy at the moment because the 3D renders have got obviously blank eyes.
yeah. I always find that like the dead-eyed stares you get from the renders. They look really crisp, and they're very, like you kind of said, like very Greek statuesque kind of look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've got two throwers in similar positions holding a ball. Classic. You've got catchers, which are all, again, individual sculpts, all catching a ball. And the blitzers are extra armor, so they've got big pauldrons on, big shoulder pads, 2 female, 3 female, 4 female, and they're just big sculpts. So, full team, you get all of those, which is actually really not bad at all.
Yeah.
Let's have a look and see how they're doing for stretch goals at the moment. There's an exclusive character, which you get with the
That is
larger
really
one,
nice.
isn't it? And the hand. So it comes on a base that is a stone hand, basically, off a statue. It's a really dynamic pose. Massive hair on this one. On Hippolyta.
I really like it. Could that be used for a star?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
There are so many. Well, there are just so many individual stars. It depends who you want to use it as.
Yeah.
3 extra piece for Hippolyta, standing on a dead body, which is quite cool. So stretch goals. That's why you do Kickstarters, isn't it? Is for the stretch goals.
Absolutely.
Stretch goals and expansions. So extra catches. 2 extra catches are €10. That's at £6,000. 6,000 euros. Sorry. Then you've got balls. Then you've got coaches. Turn marker. Although these turn markers, they're unlockable. There's one star player called File or Fillet, which has got wings, which is pretty cool. Looks like one of those dark elf women with Kate. I can't remember what they're called.
The Daughters of Cain.
Or a succubus, I suppose. In your classic RPG style. They've got dice. There's a star player on here with hair made of snakes, which is very cool. But at 18,000, I don't think they're going to reach that.
No, that's quite ambitious for that. I found like sometimes with these Kickstarters though, they end up doing them anyway. I think they had that with the Fanath one.
Yeah, the
like
dwarf.
It didn't quite meet a lot of them, so they just said, "Oh, screw it, we'll just do that," which was really nice.
Yeah, they did it with Hans the Mole. I think. I don't think Hans the Mole reached it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've also done that thing where they've got other teams. So they've got Asgard's Sons, which is a bunch of beefy dudes, which looks awfully like it's a Norse team.
It has to be, doesn't it?
Or with a very Viking. But they've got some really nice models here.
Yeah. This is the trouble with doing this podcast. We always look at these Kickstarters, and I'm always find myself after we stop recording just going to the Kickstarters and being like, should I back this?
Well, I was thinking, like, until recently, I was like, I don't really back that many Kickstarters. You know, I like to see them, I like to see the work, and then I'm like, but I've got the Fanath one coming. I've just backed the Tomb King one. Like, I've started to get sucked in. I'm starting to Ben Able myself, and I'm pretty sure both of those are your fault, actually.
Oh, that's okay. I'll do what I can.
Ben Abled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is the Artemis Maidens fantasy football team. With those positionals, you can run humans, you can run Amazons. I think they're too chunky for elves. Do you reckon you can get away with Norse with that team?
Although the Norse team they link below, where the actual Norse team
is
does
awesome.
Look more convenient. You wouldn't get the big guy in this, would you?
No, there's no big guy.
Yeah, I think it really suits Amazons and humans, and it's strange though because you got the males. Like that might throw people off playing Amazons because Amazon usually are an all-female team.
Yeah, it's true. There's only a couple, and they're just the linemen.
Yeah, I think it's fine. You know, you can have like there's women sculpt and elf teams. Human teams can have female models. I think it's one Amazons. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
Thematically, they're there.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 4 men in the whole thing, so 25%. That's not bad. And interestingly enough, I think just one of them's got a collar. 2 of them have got collars. I think there's probably a bit of a background there. So,
Yeah.
that's Artemis Maiden's fantasy football team. Check it out. There's still a good week or so to go when the episode comes out. Worth jumping on and having a look, because that's not a bad price for a pretty cool team.
And also,
So next thing on the news was the Tree Men. So Games Workshop had another, in their words, big release day, and it tended to be a medium to small release day. There was only a few things that came out, and one of them was finally a Blood Bowl release. Ben, did you see the Tree Man announcement?
I did, and it was met with unanimous love, wasn't it?
A bit divided. So the trees are out. I'm sure if you're listening to the podcast, you're an avid Blood Bowl player, and you've seen the sculpts and you've seen what they look like. They are a lot squatter than I was expecting, but it does match the art in the looks.
It does.
It matches the art really well. So it's very cool to have the small trees. I think they look really fun, and I think they look really stunty. So it kind of go with halflings, I think.
Yeah, I think when I first saw them, I was just like, ooh. But then you start looking at more angles, you start seeing more pictures, and they really, I think we said this pun a lot, but they really grew on me.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I really like them now. At first, I was a little unsure, but I think that was mainly the shock of expecting a full team and seeing a Tree Man.
Yeah, exactly. Was the thing that we've given up waiting for and gone and found hundreds of different alternatives.
Yeah.
So it looks like, there's two versions of the model, which is the Wood Elf one with a Wood Elf mask and a Waystone and some sprites. And hopefully, if I scroll down a bit, it does that,
look at that
sweet reveal on the website where there's the halfling version with the squirrel. But I think I found something that I'm a little bit perturbed by. That is the same model. It's just got slightly different bits on it, which means that there is one Tree Man. So I know there was a lot of speculation of, could be cool, could be a box of 2 Tree Men. It's going to be a single Tree Man, and it's going to have different modes, which is still fine, isn't it? I mean, the Blood Bowl
it's
logo
much
is
like
good.
the ogre and the troll, and it'll be like that, won't it?
And the Blood Bowl logo is pretty decent. I'm painting him up, or I've just finished building him now. It's a very cool model, and it's only £12. So if the Tree Man comes out, it's £15-18. You can, £30 from a reseller, in Toyment or Alchemist Workshop or whoever you're loyal to. It's not bad, and they're quite characterful.
Yeah.
I like it. I would have massively preferred anything else that hadn't been released. But if you're a Games Workshop loyalist, it's a lot easier to get these than it will be to convert the Kurnoth Hunters.
Definitely. And they've got the Blood Bowl bits on them, like they fit straight into Blood Bowl.
Yeah, they do. They fit straight into Blood Bowl. You can pick them up. I don't know if I will get these. I've got enough Treemen, I think.
Yeah, we really like the Warlords of Era 1/1s, don't we?
They're fantastic. I've got 6 of those. And I've got the Ent guy, and I've got my golems from my Chaos Halflings. There are lots of trees out there for you to use.
You'll get them anyway, though, won't you?
At some point, I imagine. It depends. If they don't release anything from Warcry that I could find an excuse to use in Blood Bowl, then I'll probably pick them up just to do an unboxing for the show, maybe. And obviously they did some other releases for Games Workshop, but nothing else with Blood Bowl. Now they do have another reveal coming up soon, which will be on the 18th, which is the day this podcast is released. So if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, keep an eye on to the Warhammer community page for later, because there will be more Games Workshop announcements, and there is always the chance that they will sneak a Blood Bowl team in there. So
very exciting.
Yeah, it could be. We could finally see the next team and the next changes to the meta, because I think they are stretching everything, aren't they, as they go?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they still thinking it's going to be vampires.
Oh man,
but
I'd be so happy if it was vampires.
I wouldn't, because of that Punga team coming.
Oh yeah, the Punga team
does look really conflicting.
Does look so good. So very quickly, teams we're still waiting for: Amazon, Chaos Dwarf, High Elves, Khemri, Necromantic, Norse, and Vampire. Of all of those, I think Vampire are the most likely to get an extra positional.
I think so too, yeah.
Of the other teams, I'm not sure if there'll be much change, much adjustment. I'd like to see them do something slightly different from the High Elves. I don't know what. It'll be interesting to see if they do. I don't think they will, but with the exception of Necromantic, I think it'll be a nice full team for all of these. I'm still not sure if they're going to do a Necromantic team or whether they'll just do an expansion.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they start bringing out Blood Bowl 7's packs, and that starts with Necromantic, and it gives you all the extra players.
It would be awesome if Games Workshop did a Blood Bowl 7's expansion. Think Kill Team for Blood Bowl.
That's Blitzball, really, isn't it, for them?
It is Blitzball. And Ben, I'm not sure if I've actually told you this, but we have got a copy of Blitzball on its way to us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
I'm itching to play this because everyone raves about it.
Yeah. So Andy Piemont has sent us a copy. It's got none of the models in because we've got plenty of models. But he said, I've played the game. I've played enough of the game. He said, I'll send it to you, and you guys can give it a review. So at some point we'll have a copy of it, and when the apocalypse pauses long enough for us to be allowed to play Blood Bowl together, we'll have to get a game. I'll bring it to club night and we'll have a few rounds.
We'll try and record it or something. That'd be really good.
Oh yeah, we could stream it, which is my current excitement and fetish is streaming everything. Blood Bowl 2, Blood Bowl 7's painting, stream it. Let's just stream it because it's a really cool way to hang out actually, and that's what inspired our second topic for the day: how to play Blood Bowl when you can't play Blood Bowl. We're going to do the top 5 ways to play Blood Bowl when you cannot play Blood Bowl with people because of what's going on at the moment. I actually really like the way the screen looks at the moment with the blue tree and the oh dear, the colours are all squiffy, but
it must be a green screen thing.
It must be a green screen thing. All right. Anyway, let's move on to the next bit of news, which is, I think, we've done the Games Workshop preview, we've done the trees, we've done the Artemis Maidens. Punga are teasing some stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, very excited about that.
Yeah, we've had the honour of having a few sneak peeks at some of the stuff that's coming for the Vampires Kickstarter, and it is amazing. It will probably be one of the best Blood Bowl Kickstarters ever, I reckon.
Yes, I think so too.
I'm not just like building hype for it. The sculpts, the models, the poses, what they're doing. The Pirates one was amazing, but this is genuinely, I think, going to be even better.
I think so too. I really do. It's like just so I cannot fault anything about it. And I know we're quite big Punga fanboys here.
Oh, definitely.
But this will convince anyone, I think.
And so it should, because just the models are so cool. The models are so cool. The sculpts are so good. I mean, you've got the Pirates now, so you know just how good they are. Well, let me right. So, other than that, if you're watching the YouTube, sorry that everything was in a weird shade of green. I had the hue saturation changed for some reason. I think it was because when I was streaming 7s, I changed the colour of the dice. Anyway, we'll ignore that and go on to tournaments. So, at the moment, everything is still on lockdown, and it's likely to be on lockdown for like another month or so. There's been no announcement from the government. There's been a news post saying it's likely to carry on. I haven't missed anything ever, Ben?
No, not that I know of. That's all I've heard.
So there's another week to go before this podcast comes out, so it's quite likely that you're listening to this with old information. But as it stands, there's every chance that the lockdown could be lifted by May, which is very useful because we have a tournament at the end of May on the 30th. On Saturday the 30th, it is Bonehead Bowl 2, which is our mixed teams tournament. Now, we did an episode a few episodes back talking about what it is, the rules pack, some teams you can take. So as it stands, that is still looking like it's going ahead. We will let you know if it doesn't, and if it doesn't, I've got something really cool planned, and I'll clue Ben into this because working with Entoyment, I still haven't got the codes for the prizes, so I'm still holding off on competitions at the moment because I don't want to say there's competitions for vouchers when I don't quite have the codes, because no one wants to do that. I don't want that to fail. But there'll be competitions. We'll make Bonehead Bowl work, but a different way. But yes, so Saturday the 30th of May, Entoyment. Hopefully, if we're all back to the real world and we've unplugged from our virtual Matrix prison, we can make it work.
Yeah, I'm still really excited. I'm not losing hope for this. I'm preparing as if it were happening.
Absolutely. I am too, and that's why I picked up my Chaos Ogres, but more about those when we talk about hobby. Ben, have we missed anything news-wise, or are we good to go?
I think that's everything.
I do too. Yeah, well, it's likely to be, and hopefully, if you're listening to this podcast in a few hours' time, Games Workshop will be announcing something fun.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. And I'll see if we can't get a little cheeky update if something like that does happen. Right, let's move on to hobby. So that's the news. There's nothing overly to buy or order, especially from Games Workshop at the moment. I know there are a few companies still open on account of me receiving post today, which was quite nice. I think there was Alchemist's Workshop. I don't know, it might have been Toyment. I've ordered stuff from multiple places. Hobby. So Ben, it's a lock-in, a very personal own space lock-in. What have you been working on?
A fair amount actually. I did actually put a little bit more paint on the pirates. I thought I'll try and get some more progress on them. Just a little palette cleanser because I'm painting a lot of corn at the moment.
Is this for Age of Sigmar?
Yeah. So I'm basically I want a lot more projects, and there's a few Kickstarters coming out that I think I want to back. There's some like armies and things I want, and I'm thinking, what a perfect time to justify it is if I get everything done. So I've been going through my Age of Sigmar backlog, some of Blood Bowl backlog, when I get a little bit bored of Age of Sigmar. 40K, trying to base everything, trying to get everything off sprues. So I've kind of been a bit chaotic, really. Should be doing Bonehead Bowl stuff, so I'll probably pick that up about a week before the tournament. And
there's always the Friday night before.
Exactly. But yeah, I sort of at the moment I'm just thinking, what do I want to do, and then I'll do that, rather than what I should do.
Well, the thing is, there's quite a lot of time for people at the moment, it's a good opportunity to just work on some projects, and then absolutely, like you said, just I'm going to go do that. I'm not saying that just because I should be building and painting. In fact, on my desk right now, I've got 4 sevens teams that I should be painting. And in my hand, I have a giant.
Yeah, well, I think I'm on the frame of mind. Hobby is hobby, and at some point you need to do giant anyway. So the fact I like seizing the moment when it comes, when you get the inspiration to do it.
Exactly. I love this excuse. So the pirates are carrying on. You've been working on your corn. You've not been working on your Bonehead Bowl team, but there's literally weeks and weeks and days of time where you're not allowed out.
Yeah, exactly. I'll find time to do it. Yeah. So anything you apart from the giant?
Oh well, I've been a bit of a hobby butterfly. So yeah, I've been working on the sevens teams. I've got my ogres that are underway. The little Noblars are just great. They're all wearing bright orange hats. Can I get it on the YouTube version? Yeah, just about. They're just so much fun, these little guys. Although I've redone the list, and I can actually get 1, 2, 3. I can get 8 Noblars, and I've only painted 7. So I have to build another one. But I've got loads. I've got like literally a box full of them because I've got 2 boxes of ogres, and then another box of ogres turned up today. And I've been working on my Chaos Ogre team. Where I thought the Chaos Halflings are great fun. I loved painting them. I love the look of them. They're something special. They're something different. And the Ogre team is one of my favourite teams. And, actually, a Chaos Ogre team would be great. And I could use it for Bonehead Bowl. So, yeah, I got the box of Ogres. And I saw a cool conversion of the Blood Bowl Ogre. And did a little conversion of him. Did a bit of a face and head swap. Stuck some bits on. And I've got another bag full of bits. Hopefully turning up tomorrow. But it depends on the post at the moment. For which I can chaosify Ogres. So, yes. Working on sevens teams, working on giants, working on ogres, working on endless spells.
Endless spells?
Endless spells for Blood Bowl, absolutely. That's something I want the community to help us with soon, because I was left on my own for a little while and went down a very deep rabbit hole.
It's a very Ben thing to do.
Well, the way I see it is, you see it in Sigmar, where they go, I've got this list and I'm taking these endless spells to go on it. And if you think about it from a Blood Bowl point of view, you've got the lists, and it's a human list with Zog. Oh, okay. Oh, I've got this list here with this star player. Well, it would just be amazing if there was another element to it. So I'm running a Slan team, and I've got the magic tree as well. And you're like, okay, yeah, fine. What does the magic tree do? Well, when I play the magic tree, it goes down. There's a 60 mil round base, and it's got tentacles, and I can mob up some of the pitch. Or I've got like the time spell, which means that everyone within 3 squares has got +1 edge because it's easier to do stuff. It's got +1. Just there's a lot of stuff you could do there to increase the amount of builds and the amount of tactics you've got on a Blood Bowl team. So that's why I've been painting up some endless spells, because I think I think there's a big amount of design space there. And amusingly, someone messaged us this week, I think it was on Twitter, saying, hey, I can see that you've got a bit of just an obsession with wizards.
Really?
Yeah, it was quite good, and actually very, very, very appropriate. So yeah, I'm working on all about that. So what else have you been up to, Ben?
Not actually a lot, to be honest. I've just done loads and loads of painting, which is really nice. In terms of games, I haven't played a great deal. And I need to get back into that league, but we'll be touching on that in a second.
Yes, you absolutely do.
Yeah, no, it's just lots and lots of hobby. Where I can, sort of, I get a lot more time in the evenings now. Where working from home, and it's just nice to close down my work laptop and crack open the paints, which are next to my work laptop.
Yeah, without having to move at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I can't find the message now, but it was literally like, yes, you have a slight obsession with wizards. That's because I think it's a massive amount of design space there that could, add variation to your teams, and that's really, really something that I've had time to think about.
Yeah, plus those end of spell models are really nice to paint up. Nice big canvas.
You get so star players are called in Blood Bowl because you can paint your team, and then you can paint this other thing that can go in multiple teams, but actually you can theme it towards your team as well. So it's like an add-on. Endless spells could be another massive add-on. So that is. I'm hoping by now we would have got the codes for the prizes, and our competition will be out, because our first design rules competition will be for endless spells, and I want to put that out as soon as we get those codes through to do it, because I'm really excited to see. We had so much engagement from the giant competition. I'm kind of hoping that we can get even half as much for endless spells, and we can go on a merry little chase. But yes, playing Blood Bowl, had a great opportunity to play quite a lot of Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
I've been hooning it through, which has been amazing. So every Sunday and every Tuesday from 7 till about 10, I'm streaming Blood Bowl. It might be Blood Bowl 1, running some corn. It might be Blood Bowl 2, playing on our league, which Ben said, Bonehead Podcast Cup. If you are on PC for Blood Bowl 2, come and join our ladder league. Sundays, Tuesdays from 7 we play, but obviously jump on our Discord and organise a game anytime you're free. I've been running ogres, and it's been going terribly. It's been great fun.
So what's your most recent game?
I played against Orkster. Was it Orkster? Yeah, it was the Skaven game. I don't know if I popped that video out on YouTube yet, but I streamed it on Twitch and Facebook. It was a great game. Basically a Game 2 Skaven team against my Game 6 Ogre team with no rerolls.
Still none?
I don't know. I bought 2 now because I had so much money in the pocket that on Blood Bowl 2, if you've got 150k or more, or money over 150k goes to your team value. So if you've got a load of gold, your team value just goes up anyway.
Yeah.
So buying rerolls was a great way to get rid of cash, because it's 1 for 2, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I bought a couple of those. It was a great game, proper Skavening. It was wicked. I was so happy. I was just absolute glee, because I'm playing Skaven, and Ogres have got to be 2 of my very, very, very favourite teams, if not my actual favourite 2 teams. So it was wicked. I was just loving watching this Skaven team pull very Skaven things, and just my powerhouse of an Ogre team just kind of failing, but also memeing. It was beautiful.
As Ogres do.
Exactly. So yeah, I've been getting loads of Blood Bowl 2 and loads of Blood Bowl 1 on the go, which is really cool. But also, I've played 2 games of 7s since we last recorded, I think.
Oh, nice.
Or maybe 1 game since we last recorded. I don't know. I played 1 game with Sam and 1 game with Ian Triplo, one of our local coaches. 2 of the local coaches. And we used Roll20, which is a tabletop simulator. And in our 7s group on Facebook, someone posted a video on how to set it up for Blood Bowl 7s. And we did it. We set it up, got a cool little stream overlay all for it, and had a great game against Ian the other night. On Tuesday, actually, on stream. Played Bretonians, had 2 games of Bretonians and 7s now, which is the only Bretonians I've played. And
how are you finding them?
Man, I really like them. It's worrying.
Yeah?
Yeah, the Knights are great. We knew the Knights are great. They're just human blitzers with Catch and Dauntless on top, right? That's great for something like 110k. So 20k, you get Dauntless and Catch, which I don't think either of those skills came in handy. So essentially, they were just human linemen, human blitzers. The linemen though are weird.
Yeah, it's all Fend, isn't it?
It's Fend, and they've got Edge 2. But they're the same.
Edge 2?
They are Edge 2. So they are just not as good. But I don't know, that Fend has come in handy, but I don't know if it's just because of the teams I played. I mean, Ian was playing Norse with 4 Frenzy, and Fend is great against Frenzy because it's like, my guy's dead, but you stay there, please.
Exactly. It just kind of denies it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was a good counter. But no, the Blitzers are cool. The Yeomen have Wrestle, which I'm not a massive fan of Wrestle in 7s.
No? Is it too slow, do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of too slow. You're right there. So in 11s, it's great to have 1 or 2 wrestlers because you can get in, sack the ball, and you've still got the rest of your team to pick up the ball. But if you wrestle with one of your 7 players on the pitch, 14% of your team is on the ground, and I don't know. I'd rather kill and leave positionals because in 7s you've got less rerolls. So the more dice you make the opponent roll, the more likely they are to fail, and they're more likely to fail in 7s because you don't have those rerolls. So yeah, I don't know. I need to give them a go. But it was a really good game. It was a game of 2 halves. The classic tagline. I dominated the first half and nearly went 2-0 up at half time, and
wow.
Ian came back and scored, and it was in a 1-1 draw at the end. But that video should be up on YouTube now as well. It's definitely worth having a look because we used Roll20 to play a game of 7s, and it was great to play a game of 7s.
Really interesting. I'm really keen to talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, played some Blood Bowl, painted some Blood Bowl, planned some Blood Bowl, and actually really happy with the amount of stuff we're getting going on. That said, just want to make the classic announcement of hope everybody out there is doing well and is nice and safe. It's been a month now since the world very much changed, and it's kind of become normal.
It has, yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Which is a
kind
bit
of forgot
weird.
what it's like.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Hobbies are a nice distraction, I think, and that's why important to take your mind off the craziness with a bit of painting, bit of podcast, bit of playing, bit of gaming. And
absolutely. Even Tiff has bought her Switch now, and she's been playing Animal Crossing like a fiend, having a great time. So there I am, just sitting there painting, and she's on Animal Crossing. It's like I hope
that game has actually made a dent in my hobby. Like I normally be painting, I'm just like, I'll just go to the island for a little bit.
That does happen. This is why I didn't get a Switch. We got the Switch Lite so that Tiff would just keep it and use it as her own little Game Boy, and therefore I wouldn't play it, and there I wouldn't lose time because plenty of other things to do. And talking of plenty of other things to do, moving on to our first topic, I think, Ben, if you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
Cool. Let's talk about 7s and 11s. So for our first topic, we are going to talk about how you mix in 7s games with 11s full teams, and how you mix in full games with 7s teams. And the reason for this is I've been working on a thing, and part of that thing is having a variable structure to your league, with 7s and Dungeon Bowl and 11s being all part of a standard fixture. And there aren't any rules at the moment that I could find that cover how to use 11s teams in a 7 game, and likewise the other way. So I started putting together some rules, and I thought it might be worth, Ben, just us having a chat through, talking through some ideas, because I think I can see it being something that could be great fun, either to mix it in as a standard fixture or actually just on a league night. Guys, do you want to play a few 7s games tonight with your league teams? So we're gonna chat about how that would work. So let me bring up the show notes onto the screen for those of you who are watching on YouTube. Not sure if you can see them, but I've got them here so I can read through them, which is very, very useful. Okie dokie. So yep, we're going to talk through some ideas on how to make it happen. So Ben, first thing I wanted to talk about is why.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, really, is like, why would you want to do it? And I know I've had this, I feel like I've had this before, not just with Blood Bowl, but in other games systems as well. Like I wrote a sort of like a small campaign thing with some friends with 40k, where it was like, oh, you want to have a game of Kill Team, but kind of want your games of Kill Team and your games of 40k and even like Apocalypse to account to something bigger. And it's the same with Blood Bowl. Like you have your League of Blood Bowl, but you want to have a sevens game.
You want it to matter.
Exactly. And because sometimes you're not in the mood for like the big game, or you might not have the time for a big game, but you still want to participate in the overall campaign or league.
You still want to carry on the story of your franchise.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's probably the biggest reason why you'd want to do something like this, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree, and it is that classic. Actually, I really want to play some sevens, but we don't really want to give up a league night to do it. Like, I'd rather develop my team or anything like that.
Yeah.
And also, from a flip side, we've got some great teams in the 7 Super Series. And it would just be really cool to see a sevens team participate in full-size Blood Bowl. But the whole idea came from, actually, there's rules for Dungeon Bowl, and there's rules for Dungeon Bowl teams, but there's not rules for using Dungeon Bowl teams sort of to kind of like cross them over, because in the fluff it says... I think there's actually an example of a Dungeon Bowl team playing in a regular game and them complaining because there was no chests, there were no teleporters. It was either that way or the other way around, where a team from standard Blood Bowl went and played a game of Dungeon Bowl, didn't know what they were doing, and were confused by the fact that they didn't get blown up. But it made me think, actually, I'd like to cross these over and have those rules, because I really want to use Dungeon Bowl teams in standard Blood Bowl, and I really want to use Dungeon Bowl teams in sevens, because it's just more teams and more Blood Bowl is more better. So yes, being able to say, guys, we're going to run a mini sevens competition, you can use your 11s teams, you can start a new one, whatever, and getting 3 games in with 3 MVPs, although we'll talk about that, can be a great way to get a cool boost on a team, or just, you know, enact that draft element of, actually, sevens is a great place for new players to show off their stuff. And it could be a good way to do it, like a feeder league. Feeder league.
Oh, absolutely. That was probably going to be that's probably how I would like to do it most. It's like a little recruitment cup kind of thing.
Yeah, beginning of the league, beginning of the season. You play a sevens night, and actually, sevens is great for trying out teams. And if you had a feeder night where you can bring a team or a couple of teams, play some sevens, and actually have what those players achieve count towards regular, you could play a sevens game, find that you really love running, I don't know, ogres or slan, and you've already got a couple of characters who've nearly leveled up, or they have leveled up, and actually you like where they are, you like their character. Well, this is a great opportunity to then take that and develop it into a full team or something like that. And that's
Or transfer them, you know.
Well, exactly. Oh, dude, don't get me started on trading players. That's my ultimate goal.
That's the thing. You could have a game like they play in the sevens league and they develop skills in the sevens team. You might have a player you really like, and then you're just like, well, can I hire him on my 11s team?
Well, that depends on your commissioner, but I would say yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Wobble, our local league, if you look at the rules pack for that, there is actually rules there for trading players.
Yeah.
No one's used them, which is fine, but they are there because that's the kind of commissioner.
Take a bigger look at them, especially after this conversation.
And you can trade players between your team and your team if you've got multiple teams, but there is a cost, because otherwise it would just be broken. Anyway, we are getting sidetracked there. So with sevens, with 11s, with the 2 different teams and the 2 different ways of building them, what are some of the issues that could crop up? Some of the issues and some of the worries about how and what could impact on a crossover game or using them in different formats. Ben, have you had any ideas on what could be bad about it?
I think the thing that immediately comes to mind is that not everyone would want to do it. Some people like just to play their league every week. And sort of not quite having the expectation, but, you know, having a possibility that suddenly everyone's playing sevens and everyone's doing their sevens thing, but it's not really for you. That's always a concern.
It is.
As a commissioner, how would you deal with that?
Well, what we've done so far is we just had game nights that are sevens and they're resurrection and they're on their own. I mean, you ran Hangover Bowl, didn't you? It was a great way to get sevens out of the way without it affecting anything. But having something like this where you could use a league team in sevens means that actually that coach, if there isn't a game going, they could still participate, play some sevens games and grow their team so that they don't massively miss out. Or they could just use it as a great opportunity to chuck on a team they've never played. I mean, you build a team for League, you spend months playing that team. It might be that Games Workshop releases a new team. You've got one for your birthday. You want to run it. You've been painting some models. You want to try out a different play style. That's what Sevens is great for. And if we can find a way to do crossovers, it might be an even bigger enabler into using Sevens in a regular Blood Bowl element. But if we can find a way to just put Sevens format into regular Blood Bowl League, it would be a really interesting thing. So I'm writing this Colleges of Magic rule set, and part of it is that there is a Sevens phase of a league. So there's a couple of Sevens games, and then it's regular Blood Bowl, and then there's a Dungeon Bowl match. It's all phased out like that, but there is an element, and part of the league point is playing a couple of Sevens games as just part of the league. And it would be really interesting on a club night to say, oh yeah, guys, it's the Sevens night tonight, part of the league. So you're going to play 2 people instead of 1, and you're going to have 2 games.
Which we found does actually work quite handily in a club night.
It does. It can be done. And also, if you do give an MVP in each game, it's a semi-accelerant.
Oh, it is, yeah. And that's always the most exciting part, isn't it? When you can go away from the club night and upgrade your players.
Yeah, I've leveled up. I've done some stuff.
Exactly.
So some of the worries is that if you play 2, 3 Sevens games with your team, there's balance issues massively with chunky teams taking on new teams, but also with the fact that you would at that point have more opportunity to pick up MVPs because you're playing 2 or 3 games instead of 1. So there would be an accelerated point of that. Definitely something to be mindful of. Let's move the old cursor down so that we can see what we're talking about. And yeah, I think the balance element of it is important to be aware of. So if you took an 11s team and ran it in 7s, there would be a possibility of a team value, big team value discrepancy. So
yeah, especially it's balanced around 600k mark, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. Now we've got some rules that kind of help us with that, but also just from a skill point of view. So if you've got an 11s team, let's talk about your High Elves from last season, which I think is your most seasoned team in League.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You probably got a bunch of guys, half a dozen guys with a single skill and a few 2 or 3 guys with 2 or 3 skills, right?
I think a couple of them died, but I'll have to go back.
Hashtag elf life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Poor elves.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea is actually if you're choosing 7 to 11 of your players, you could choose their hench ones. And you could be running against a brand new team, and that team value difference is going to be as a percentage higher, isn't it? So
yeah,
if I'm running my first game with my Skaven team, and you're running your 1200 TV elf team, you can choose those players that have the extra several $100 in inducements, and it would be basically 600 TV versus 800 TV.
Yeah.
Which
they would throw it quite a lot.
Which could be an element of trickery, but also you're playing 7, so if you do get absolutely shot to heck, it is just a real quick game.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I love most about 7s. We've definitely said that before. Is there's not as much investment in your time.
It takes the same amount of time to have a 7s match as it does to have a Magic the Gathering match, and I mean match as in game of 3 games.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at some of the rules we've brewed up for this. So, playing a Blood Bowl 7s game with a full league team, because obviously there's 2 ways around of doing this, and this is where we'll start. Player count. So, there's a 7 to 11 player restriction in 7s. There's an 11 to 16 restriction in 11s. So, teams must bench down to a maximum of 11 players on the roster for a 7s game. So bench players are treated the same as if they'd suffered a miss next game result. This happens before team values are calculated for inducement purposes and is done at the same time / before matches are organised. So in my mind, this looks like, guys, it's a 7s night tonight. You rock up, here's your roster, cross off the people you want to be benched for the game, and then calculate your team value. So Ben, you turn up with your... how many games are you into your Khorne team? Is it just 1?
2, I think. I think it's 2.
2, cool. So you've probably got a couple of guys with a level or something.
Yeah. I think I've got 2 level ups. I think.
Brilliant. So you could bench down, and it would give you the choice of benching down to 7 players only and keeping your team value low, or benching to 11 and keeping your team value high. It would be interesting to see what people do at that point. I mean, what would your inclination be to do?
Um, I think it's entirely dependent on the team because some teams you can go really gun ho in sevens and just like sacrifice them and have all the players there, have all the spares, but then low TV has its advantage there. So I don't know. I think with Corn I'd take lower just because they're really expensive.
Yeah, and I do kind of like that team management idea of that as well.
Yeah.
Is like, I can run 11 players. I can run 11 players and rock up with basically a million team value, but they're going to get a lot of inducements, and there is a little thing to talk about inducements at the very end. Rerolls. So the number of rerolls a team has remains the same, but they do not refresh at halftime, or you halve the number of rerolls rounding down. What do you think to that? Which do you think would be the better way to do it then?
I think halving, because I think that sticks with the Blood Bowl Sevens theme of overall less. Because like you can, if you had all of them but they don't refresh, you could just blow them all in the first half and have a mega first half, which they couldn't recover from. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I think that's very, very fair.
Yeah.
I like. I think I was talking to George Christodoulou, the commissioner of the Sydney Bowl series in Australia, about sevens and about having the rerolls regular cost, but you could use them once per game instead of once per half, and whether or not that would affect sevens, which I thought was a really interesting design consideration. Actually, like you said, yeah. I think you're right, though. I think by turn 4 they'd all be gone forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a kind of a consideration to say that actually your normal starting full Blood Bowl team has 3 rerolls, generally speaking. Maybe 2, maybe 4, but the average is 3. Humans, orcs, whatever, it's normally 3 rerolls. If you halve that, they end up with 1 reroll per half, which is still pretty decent for sevens. Most teams run 0. You might get a cheeky 1 every now and again with a cheaper team, but otherwise, I suppose it keeps the rerolls equal.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there.
Cool. And leader is obviously unaffected because it is the most important skill in sevens, most hated and divisive skill, but it's the most important because it enables your entire team. Okay, so this brings us to inducements, and we hinted at this a second ago. Inducements. Any inducement allowance given to a team counts as double the value, as the team value difference is proportionally greater in sevens. This is after benching adjustments have been applied, etc. So the idea is, so in that situation, Ben, you decide to take all 11 players of your shiny new 1 million team. Someone else benches down to maybe 8. And there, because of that, there's like a 200k difference. That is doubled for this sevens event to 400 to really give the element of team management and inducement balance there.
I like this. And I know you put this in purely because you love Star Sevens.
Yes, and no. Actually, it's a double side. So if we think about playing a sevens game with the full team, what these rules would allow you to do is play your 11s team against a sevens team, and say you bench down to 800, and that sevens team sitting at 600. It gives them an opportunity to take some stuff to help balance that factor out. So if you're playing sevens, you kind of want to bench players to keep your T value low, so you don't give them enough money to take a wizard, to take something else, which can be absolutely game changing in sevens. But we've also got to be very cautious of a team of rerolls being taken as well. So,
yeah, because I mean, you've got to factor in, like, let's say you're benching a human lineman, they're 50k, are they?
Yeah.
Like that's essentially a free reroll that you're giving to the other player.
Yeah,
right?
That's something that we'd have to consider as well, whether the reroll to induce is double the value as well, which I think it probably should be. The extra team rerolls. Team rerolls being doubled in sevens, I think that extra team training should probably be 200 as well.
That makes sense.
But that means
it's going to be cheaper than most rerolls.
That's it. But then it gives you the choice of, do I take 2 linemen? Do I take linemen 10 and 11, and risk giving them enough gold to take that reroll? So it kind of balances out with regards to rerolls, but then you get the opportunity for a cheeky star player, a keg, wizard, and yes, I might be starting to get obsessed with wizards. A giant, which could be cool,
Giant
fun.
wizard.
A giant. So that would be the draft rules for playing a sevens game with a full team. Let's flip flop the other way round, and then we'll talk through our thoughts. So playing a full Blood Bowl game with a sevens team. So you're taking your sevens team and you're now playing proper Blood Bowl. Sevens teams receive a number of journeymen required to take the team to at least 11 active players. This happens before team values are calculated, etc. So you rock up with your sevens team and you've got 7 guys. Or maybe you're running an undead team and you've got a whole bunch of zombies on there. You've got 10 players, whatever. Mm-hmm. You get journeymen to take you up to 11.
Yep.
Straight off the bat. So if you're running an elf team, your team value is going to be higher because your elves are expensive. If you're running an ogre team, you get about 1 Noblar to take you to 620. Then we move on to rerolls. So the number of rerolls a team has is doubled. The leader skill is unaffected. So if you have spent that sweet $8 billion to get yourself a reroll in sevens, you now get 2 rerolls because it balances out. Yeah. And inducements. So sevens teams playing in a full game receive an extra 200k for inducements. This happens after the team values are calculated for inducement purposes, and most importantly of all, inducement money may also be spent to upgrade journeymen to mercenaries by paying the difference in cost. And the reason for this is because of the positional restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
So in 11s, you get the opportunity to buy all the positionals that you can afford.
Okay.
In 7s, you can only have 4.
Yeah, no, I see that. Yeah, I was thinking like, why would you? But no, I do get it.
Yeah, because then you can, you get. We'll take actually the ogre team is probably a really good example of this. You get a journeyman, and it is a Noblar journeyman. You've already spent that. You had to buy that Noblar. You can now upgrade that Noblar to an ogre. Maybe an elf team might be a better one, Ben. You're running pro elves, you're running high elves. You get an additional 4 elf linemen. When actually for 10, 20k more per player, you would have rather that it was a thrower or a catcher. You now get to spend that cash to upgrade them.
Yeah, so I was thinking initially, you just upgrade them from a journeyman to the lineman. When I was thinking was like, I probably wouldn't spend that inducement money to do that, but to upgrade them to a positional.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's exactly it. Is upgrading them to a positional. It's a mercenary, so they are more expensive than a normal positional, but you still get the opportunity to take an extra blitzer on your human team. Actually, you can fill out your roster and get those blitzers to give you more of a fighting chance. Now, you will still suffer from the fact that they have loner. So you're padding your team out, and it isn't going to be as good. But it gives you a chance. It gives you in the fight, and it makes it kind of thematic. It's like, here's my sevens team. Here's a bunch of guys we paid to fill out the roster. They might be good. They might not be good. It adds that element to it.
It's really interesting. I like it. I like the big fat wad of cash you get. That's really interesting. That'll definitely change up the build and determine whether or not you even want to get these mercenaries.
Well, that's it.
Pay a lot for free. Very much, you're probably going to get more, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I've put a little example here. A sevens team receives 4 additional players and takes it to 800k. So say it's a human team, they get 4 human linemen, and now they're at 800. And they're playing against a 1 million standard team. The sevens team receives an extra 200,000 on top of the 200,000 they already get, for a total of 400,000. The sevens team then decides to buy 3 rerolls with that, and then upgrade 2 of its journeymen to mercenary positionals. So what you've done is you've taken your human sevens team with no rerolls and a few positionals, and with that cash you can buy 3 rerolls and then upgrade some of your guys to positionals to give you that element of just a little bit of a boost.
That's so good. I'll do this.
So the whole idea of this was, if you've got an element of a series, a league or something where you've got a sevens league, you've got a Dungeon Bowl league, you've got a regular season league, actually being able to cross play them is limiting, but it should be really fun. But if we look at sevens using your standard 11s build, playing my 11s team versus your 11s team in a game of sevens, there's a lot of thought that goes into that.
Oh, absolutely. Who do you bench? That's the big key thing.
Who do you bench? How much of my team am I going to bench? And if I bench more than you, I'm likely to get extra inducements. And while I will absolutely, hand on heart, say the inducements are simply not as good as players. They are a boost when you are looking at sevens because your team value is so different. Those extra 3 skills can make a massive amount of team value difference and a massive amount of difference on the game. So actually, those 3 skills being worth an apothecary is, and a keg is actually really important and can be all the difference.
Yeah, especially if you're, like you mentioned, apothecary. Like you might really want an apothecary for that game. I don't know. It having the flexibility is nice. I think. Like sometimes you just think, oh, I wish I had that, or it's a team where you wish you had a wizard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wizards all the way. But another cool thing of this is actually it means you can also play a sub element of your team. Normally, I'd say you drop down your sevens, you bench your sevens teams before you assign opponents. But what if you changed that up? What if you said, right, Ben, your high elves are going to be playing the dwarves team in sevens. You might bench differently.
Oh, that's a fun little gambit there. Especially if you keep it secret until the game starts.
That's it. You rock up, you cross your guys off. Right, what's your team value? My team value is 820. What's yours? 750. Right, who are you running? Yeah. I'm running these guys. Interesting. So you're rocking up to this game. You're like, okay, in this game, am I going to take the ogre for my team? Am I going to, look at renegades, right? You rock up with a renegade team, and renegades have all the different positionals. You're like, right, actually, I am playing against dwarves, so I don't need that much of a movement advantage. Maybe I do bring in the troll, or this guy's got tackle. Maybe I'll bring him in against the goblin team, but I'll leave him out against the dwarf team. Adds an extra element of team management, and then all you're really kind of doing is looking at every sevens game you play and deciding on your toolkit for that matchup. And I think that's really cool.
I think that is really fun. It gives you like an expanded roster to pick from, which is really nice.
And this is something that Rich and I talked about literally years ago now, was about having Mega Bowl, having a 32-man Blood Bowl roster.
Wow.
Basically 2 teams, one for offense, one for defense. And you rock up and you choose which team you're going to play each drive. And it allows you that greater flexibility. This is kind of like a mini version of that, where you've got your full 11s team. Think about gutter runners. Think about Skaven. Like, I can have 4 positionals. Well, actually, I don't think the positional limit would apply for an 11s team running a 7s game. What do you think to that, Ben?
I think it would apply.
Interesting. So
I probably would have still applied that, just because, especially if you're playing against other 7s teams, or are you just saying only in the instance where you have 2 11s teams play?
Let's say 11s versus 11s.
I think there it makes more sense because both teams are on the level playing field.
Yeah.
And I think it would just be interesting because it would be chaos.
It would be chaos. But, it does add that element. I mean, what's your favourite team to run at the moment?
Oh, probably Khorne at the moment.
Okay, Khorne is a cracking example. All right, who do you take? Do you take the Bloodthirster in this matchup? Actually, no, because I want my players... playing against an agile, fast team, it's real tempting to take the Thirster just to get all those dice, but you might want just to take another 2 linemen instead of the Bloodthirster because they're more reliable.
That's fighting talk, Ben. Bloodthirster all the way. No, but I see where you're coming from. Yeah, no.
Actually, yeah. I don't know. It's just really interesting, and I love the element of that. And that's why I was thinking about these rules and about a part of a series and actually having that 2 sevens evening of your league, because there's a lot of tactical choices and there's a lot of choices you can make there outside of the game, and the game outside the game just adds to the hobby. And let's face it, right now we have got all kinds of game outside the game,
100%.
and not a lot of game, and this is another element where actually you can bring that in, and it adds a bit of theme and adds a bit of tactics and just makes your team feel even bigger.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
So listeners out there, I have absolutely no doubt that there are some of you that have already brewed up some rules like this for yourself. So get in touch, let us know what you think of what we've been thinking about. Let us know what we've done wrong, and let us know a better way to do it, because I think this is something that we could explore, and it just could be really interesting, because there are other variants out there again to explore. There's Death Bowl, there's Street Bowl, there's some stuff there. There's Tunnel Bowl, which for all intents and purposes is just sevens with stuff in. But yeah, let us know what you thought, and let us know your ideas. And talking of the game outside the game, we're going to talk about how to game when there is no game to game.
It's not a game.
Yep, let's talk game. So as you all know, the world is on lockdown at the moment, and looks like it's going to be on lockdown for a little while still. So your club nights, your league nights, tournaments, everything are kind of on pause at the moment. Now, there's quite a few ways to work around it, and I was thinking about writing an article, and then I thought actually it'd be much better to just talk to Ben about it on the podcast. So we have done a top 5 ways to play Blood Bowl when you can't play Blood Bowl. It seemed appropriate because actually, although hopefully the world will return to normal soon enough, for the time being, we've got to find ways around it.
Mm-hmm.
And it made sense to just talk through some of the ways you can play Blood Bowl without actually being able to go somewhere and play Blood Bowl with someone. So we're going to talk through the options. We're going to talk about the good things and the bad things. I want your opinion on them, Ben, as we go as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so first things first. And number 1 is prevalent in this one, and that is literally number 1 or number 5. No, we'll start. Sorry, the first one, which is number 5, is playing solo.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, I just need to bring up my notes on this one. Right, so playing solo Blood Bowl. You can play solo. You can load up your teams. You've already got the stuff. You've already got the minis. You've got the pitch, and you wouldn't even judge yourself for using unpainted miniatures or proxies.
Unless you're Ian.
Unless you, well, yeah, no, Ian Warham and Hannam, or Ian Warham and Hannam, as the Warhammer community have now dubbed him. Bless him. That's right. Ian got on the Warhammer community again. He's already been on the stream playing a game. Now his massive squig dude got featured, and they called him Warhamnam. And yeah, poor guy. Hamnam style. Anyway, number 5, playing Blood Bowl with yourself. So on the plus side, you've already got all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
You've got the stuff, you've got the teams, and it gives you an opportunity to use the teams that you've got to hand that you haven't, because, you know, let's face it, this is very simple points here. But obviously, when you are playing Blood Bowl against someone, you generally only get to use one of your teams.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the advantage of playing solo is you get to use 2 of your teams. So if you've been working on a Nurgle team and an Ogre team, when you go to club night, normally you're like, okay, I kind of want to try out the Ogres, but I don't want to skip a game with the Nurgle because they really need skills. Actually, this is a great way for you to get your Nurgle team and your Ogre team onto a pitch and play both of them and find a way that they both work.
I found this works best to kind of, for lack of a better word, just sort of like demo things. So like, I know I've definitely done this in the past where you think, what would happen in this scenario? So it's really hard, I find, to play an actual game against yourself because you obviously know what you're going to do. And it's hard to have like sort of turn off the opponent's way of thinking. But I do think like, oh, how easily could I break a dwarf cage or something like that? This is a really good way to do it. Just
how good is the ogre? Is the giant?
Yeah.
You know, you're exactly right. It's a great way to playtest the rules, playtest teams, playtest builds. However, like Ben said, you have to fight your own subconscious. You probably secretly want that team you've just finished painting to win. So maybe you give them a little leeway, or maybe the other team plays a bit more recklessly, or because no one's actually playing against you, maybe you play both teams more recklessly, because whatever happens, you're not going to lose the game.
Exactly.
Whether you win, draw, or lose, you will not lose because you will win, which is interesting. So playing Blood Bowl with yourself is a great way to get some minis out and throw some dice, but it completely lacks the competitive element of people or something making decisions that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
I have put it here as great for value though, because you can use the stuff you've already got, and like I said, you can proxy stuff to your heart's content, and it doesn't matter, and you don't have to worry about that, and you can stop mid-game if you're having a terrible time and just move on with your life. So, Ben, for you, playing Blood Bowl solo, yay, nay, maybe?
I will give it a nay, just because I think you wouldn't get the same experience. You wouldn't get the competitive experience, which I think a lot of people like in Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl is a puzzle with dice and story.
It is.
And you can have the puzzle, but I'm going to be... Video games have scores. Tetris has a high score. Candy Crush has high scores and levels to get to. Challenge and puzzle is really only good when you can kind of show off what you've done. And yes. Playing a game of Blood Bowl and pulling off something ridiculous because you solved a puzzle or because your luck was outrageous, it's so much more satisfying when you can share it with someone, or when you've not just pulled it off against yourself. So yes, I agree with you. You can absolutely lay up some teams and play some games, and you can do it. But
sorry, I just had a good idea.
What we got?
I know we're only going to gloss over this, but
I know.
You could set up little challenges. Set Blood Bowl challenges. You lay out a pitch, and you say score a touchdown in 2 turns with this scenario.
Oh,
and have some like pre-made AI from the other side, as in this is what they'll do on their turn.
Ooh, I like that.
Fun.
Ben, get writing. Get writing, because right now we've got nothing better to do than make videos about stuff. So this is a very cool idea. So yes, if you're listening and you've got ideas for that, then drop us a message. I did see a thing on the Blood Bowl community today where someone was like, "I'm homebrewing some solo rules for Blood Bowl."
Nice.
But I like the puzzle idea very much because it is a puzzle.
Yes.
Number 4 is using a tabletop simulator. So Vassal or Roll20. Now, Roll20 is something we've used. We've done it this week. Roll20 is a web-based program normally designed to facilitate RPGs, D&D and stuff. It's got a cool bunch of tools for like camera sharing or audio sharing. We've not used any of that, but I think, have you used Roll20 at all for D&Ds, Ben?
I've used it a lot, yeah, as a GM and a player. It's incredible. It's really incredible. The in-game video and sound isn't brilliant.
Well, that's what Discord's for. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what you can do is you can get a tabletop simulator and you can play any game you can get into that simulator, and you can play it and you can have the conversation with the opponent. So if you're listening and you're interested about what this looks like, then jump onto our YouTube and check out the video of us playing sevens over Roll20. It rolls dice for you. We set up things so it rolls the block dice, it does the damage rolls, and it does the weather rolls and things. So you can share it with your opponent. So you're doing one dice. The downside is that you have to move everything manually.
Yes.
Well, when I say manually, I mean you have to click and move it on the screen like you're in PowerPoint or something. You just click something and move it along. But
it's not a huge deal.
It's exactly the same as playing a game against an opponent.
Yeah.
In that regard. And this is something that I found when I played against Sam and I played against Ian in the last week, is that you're talking through what you're doing exactly the same way as you do on a tabletop.
Yeah.
You're like, right, I'm going to move this guy here, here, here. He's next to him, so he's going to make this 2 dice block. Oh, actually, this guy's got guard. All right, okay, right, yeah, fine. It's exactly the same as tabletop. So from that angle, it's been brilliant. It's been really, really useful. One of the downsides that they can be a little bit intensive to set up. What do you think to that, Ben?
It can be. I think it's one of those things that would just come in with time. You'll get it. It's like one you could have a template where you already have the pitch set up and all the things loaded there. You just load in the sprites. But the initial setup could take a little while. Also, it's visually not quite as entertaining as some other options.
No, it's not.
If you like the Blood Bowl like tabletop visual experience, which I know a lot of people, that's why we have nice miniatures, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't quite get that, but for playing Blood Bowl and enjoying Blood Bowl, I mean, I watched the game you had against Sam; it was brilliant.
Yeah, it's all game.
Yeah.
But you don't, like Ben said, you don't get the element of actually using your cool models, and sharing that experience is just not there. And unless you're tech savvy, setting them up at the very beginning can be a bit difficult. So
yeah.
Fortunately, I'm not too bad with technology. I managed to figure it out. There's a great video on our Blood Bowl 7's Facebook group of from a guy called Soon, who says this is how to set up Blood Bowl 7s on Roll20, and then we put a video up saying this is some stuff we've learned, and now we've got a video of the actual gameplay between me and Ian, so you can see how it plays out. And it's a really cool way to chill out and play a game with a friend.
Yeah, and it's entirely free.
It's entirely free. Yeah. I did get the upgrade so that our players can use tablets and things.
Oh, cool.
Because I wanted to have that access ready. It wasn't very much. It was like $5.
Yeah.
So one huge advantage to this is literally the flip side of you have to do everything manually. So it doesn't calculate anything for you. It doesn't calculate dodges. But on the other side of that, it means that you can use whatever teams you like with whatever skills you like. As long as you can visually represent it and make it clear to your opponent, you can use anything. So we've got a 7 set up, we've got a Street Bowl set up, we've got Death Bowl 7 set up, I've got the classic Dungeon Bowl pitches there ready to play set up. We can use teams from Fumble, we can use homebrew teams, we can do anything we like. And it's such a huge advantage. So for people like us, Ben, who like to experiment with rules and try different things, actually it's great. And when I played against Sam, I think he used a team from the Fumble Secret League. He used the Four Nations team. And we got to run a team, and actually, you know what? You click on the player, it's got the stats in the player and the rules in the player, and you can still play. So I really love this option. It is clunky, it's not smooth, and it relies on you talking through, but it allows you to do anything. So it's the classic. It's the classic choice of OS, isn't it? It's your limitations versus your opportunities. This has got some limitations, but a huge amount of opportunity.
Yeah. Can we have a game this week on it? I want to try that.
Yeah, definitely.
Smash team we reviewed a while ago that Sage wrote.
Ooh, that's a great
I want to give that a go.
Yeah, man. Let me know when you're free.
Cool.
Right. Number 3, Blood Bowl 1. So everyone plays Blood Bowl 2 now, right? It's been out for, I don't know, 57 years, but Blood Bowl 1 is still available, and the first iteration of the PC game is still viable if you want to jam some Blood Bowl. In fact, if you fancy Khorne, it's the only way you're going to do it. I recently picked up the Chaos Edition, which has got, I think, all but just a few of the teams, and I did it just so I could practice with Khorne so that we could talk about it on the podcast, and it was £12, and it cost me £12 to fall in love with Khorne, and it's hours of fun. Straight off the bat, it's not 100% as it's 100% not as good as Blood Bowl 2 in any way, shape, or form. And the online, except it has, so it's 97% not as good as Blood Bowl 2. And the online is dead, but if you want to play test some teams, run some games, run some leagues, you can do it there for pretty cheap on an old PC or laptop, and you can keep those tawny skills just a little bit sharper. So yes, there's no online. I think you might be able to play against someone else who's got Blood Bowl 1, but the advantage here is you can queue up against the AI a billion times, run your teams, run your league, and it's real cheap. The Chaos Edition is like the Supreme Edition. It was £12, and you know what? Currently, I'm not spending that outside. You know.
Yeah, there's not a lot else to spend money on at the moment. So yeah.
Exactly. I'm not going out for dinner. I'm not getting a takeaway. I'm not spending it on. I am still buying toys, but there's not. There's less less releases at the moment. So on the pros, it's a PC game, so it's got a tutorial. The gameplay isn't bad. It takes some work to make the exact team you're after, and you will need a computer with Steam, but it's a pretty quick download, and then you are off. And because it's an older game, you don't need a particularly good PC at all. It runs on my laptop just fine, and my laptop is about 6 years old. And I think this is something to talk about. And if you're out there and you're like, I can't get Blood Bowl 2 because my PC won't run it, then get Blood Bowl 1. Your PC will probably be able to run it. You won't be able to play online, sure, but you can still jam a few games of Blood Bowl in an hour and a half, and you can still develop a team, and it's not as challenging as playing against another player, but you're still playing Blood Bowl. Ben, what do you think of Blood Bowl 1?
I think it's an option. I like it. I like that it's like the roots of the thing. I think you are right though. There's no real reason, like, is in it that it doesn't really do anything that Blood Bowl 2 doesn't do better. But But yeah, if it's all you can grab and you have a low NPC, that is definitely an option because it's a little bit prettier than like Roll20.
It's way prettier. It is way prettier. It's animated. The sound effects are there. You got it's not a bad game. It feels 10 years old because I think it is. But hey, it's a great option to play against Blood Bowl, and it has that element of I don't have to wait for my opponent. I can try some teams. It's definitely recommend it. However, without a real opponent, you're lacking the what are they doing, what are they going to do element. And I'm not going to lie, the AI on the game is very bad. It's very bad. You are likely to win if you are playing tight. It's not a gimme. You can still play tight and still get nuffled by the dice, but you still have to make choices. You have to make the right choices. But actually, it is Blood Bowl on easy mode a little bit. So if you want to run that elf team with 4 catchers and just play Tom Brady in the pocket and throw long bombs all day long, it's great fun. You can do that. You can absolutely do that. If you want to take a corn team and just surf everybody, you can do that too.
Yes. Options are good.
Yeah, but it's still going to pull unexpected plays. Then it's going to pull more unexpected plays on yourself than you will on yourself. So it's an upgrade there. And you can set it to hard mode, but I'm pretty sure that just adjusts the amount of garbage rolls you get. So if you're one of those people who jumps onto the Blood Bowl community and complains about the random number generator, don't put it on hard mode because you will have a fit. And that's not good. So yeah, £12 for a whole bunch of teams on a low NPC. You can play some games. I recommend Blood Bowl 1. Ben, how do you feel about it?
I personally never tried it, but yeah, I would say if it's your only option, I'd recommend it.
Absolutely. If you've got no friends that can set up Roll20 and you don't fancy just playing against yourself, get Blood Bowl 1, run some games.
Yeah.
But if you do have someone else to play with and you do want a bit more automation and you do want to play it free on an old computer, then number 2 is probably the one for you, and that is Fumble. So Fumble is the old school Java edition of Blood Bowl. It's a legendary. It's where Secret and Stunty teams originate from, and it's what we had. It's all we had back in the day before Games Workshop rebirthed and sold it to Cyanide. It'll run in basically any browser that supports Java. It does take a bit of getting used to, but there are hundreds of guides and stuff to getting started on it, and hundreds more people that can help. It's actually quite a decent, thriving community, Fumble. And the NAF are trying to move as many of the lockdown tournaments to there wherever possible because it gives you the access. Ben, genuinely, have you ever looked at Fumble?
I have. I actually gave it a go back when we were doing first sort of looking into secret teams and things.
Oh, cool.
That's sort of how I discovered it. As someone who joined well after Dark Ages, I was a bit thrown by the age. It does feel dated. I think it's older than me.
It might actually be older than you.
Yeah.
But Blood Bowl, the game, is older than me, so, you know, that's a thing.
That is. But I was really impressed by the sheer amount of content and how active the community was for something that feels older.
It's great,
and
isn't
it was really good. Yeah.
It is really good.
It was really good. It's easy to use, really easy to use.
I think there is a little bit of a learning curve. And you're seeing that on the Blood Bowl community on Facebook at the moment. People are like, trying Fumble out for the first time and I can't find an opponent or I can't do this.
True, yeah. I guess I work as like a web developer, so I'm sort of a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see why there's a learning curve there.
But things like Blood Bowl 1 and Blood Bowl 2, you just click here, and it gives it to you on a plate. Fumble, you kind of got to work a little bit for it and figure out what you're doing. But it gives you it's kind of medium on the variation versus work, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you don't have to download anything, and even if you have a relic of a PC, you should be able to run it in a browser. The great thing about it is it auto-resolves things for you. So unlike Roll20, this is a game. So Roll20 is a simulator, and you share it, and it really all it is just a shared PowerPoint with dice. This actually sorts everything out for you and asks you, like, do you want to do this stuff? Is this the right thing? Pick your dice. You know, this guy's dead, LOL. It will tell you these things. And probably more importantly, you're playing against real coaches with a huge amount of teams in a framework that, while old school in style, is really good. It runs really well. You can make misplays, but I think it's hard to misclick on fumble than on any other platform. Because you got the grid. And I love the icons. They are retro. They're 8-bit.
Oh, they are.
All day long. And that's what we've used for our Roll20. Or Roll27s, as I'm calling it. Because actually, you can't get 7s on fumble. I actually did talk to Krista, one of the lead admins. I was like, so what would it take to get 7s on there? You can play 7s, but it's on a standard sized pitch. So it's not quite the same. So he was like, yeah, no problems. You can use the sprites. But yeah, the sprites are from there, and that's the cool thing about Fumble is they've got sprites for all the teams and all the star players,
all the secret teams and stuff. So good.
Yeah, so if you're like, I would kind of like to play Blood Bowl, but have it look like Final Fantasy IV, this is absolutely the place for you.
Oh, I'd love there to be like a ROM hack stuck on those like little mini NESs stuff. I'd love to play Blood Bowl on the NES.
Like Tecmo Bowl. Dude, I'll make you one in Games Factory. It'd be wicked.
Oh, so good.
So, pros, it's free, runs on anything. What you get is fantastic. You can run a huge amount of variety on there, from teams to builds. Yeah, it takes a little bit of work to set up, but bang for your buck is basically infinite at that point. The only downside is that there is no 7s.
Is there not?
There's no 7s. There's no 7s on Fumble. Otherwise, I probably would have never come to a club night again. I'd just be jamming 7s games. No, because they can't adjust the pitch size. So it's always on a full-size pitch. I think there's a mode where you can use only 7 players, and there's a mode where you can use only 4 players. But it's the whole... It's just playing Blood Bowl, but with less players instead of having different pitch size, and that's kind of the exciting thing about 7s. So yeah, Fumble, definitely check it out. Ben, would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely check it out. And if it does feel a bit older or more dated, or you just can't get on with how the UI works and things, you probably get a similar experience with Roll20, as we explained before. They kind of behave quite similarly. But Fumble just sort of does a lot more for you.
Fumble does all the automated. It counts for you. You have to count on Roll20, as you'll see from watching the video, where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it doesn't do the cool path movement that Roll20 does, which is my favourite thing about it. Yeah. And then number 1, the Big Daddy, Blood Bowl 2.
Yes, I think most people will be familiar with this. It's like the most current game. Who knows if there's a third in development?
Well,
but this is currently the most up-to-date video game version of Blood Bowl.
We're supposed to see 3 this year, but who knows? We don't know what this year's going to be like now Anyway, here it is. If you have a computer, an Xbox, a PS4, this is the daddy. This will keep you Blood Bowl sane. It's not perfect, and there are teams missing, and setting up custom leagues and stuff isn't as detailed as some of the other options. But if you want to play Blood Bowl for days and days and days, this is your Huckleberry. So it's cool. It's not the most up-to-date Games Workshop rules, so this is different to 2016. Blood Bowl. This is different to current Blood Bowl, so you can't add that in. You can't get the new positionals. You can't have your chameleon skinks on your team. You can't run a slave giant to upset people. But you can play a load of teams on there, and there is a custom team element, which I'm currently exploring on my stream at the moment, because I'm just trying each of them out to find out some of the builds. It's very, very cool. It's cool to run ogres with Chaos Dwarves and stuff and do things like that, and you can do stuff with that. But as we alluded to earlier, you will need a reasonable PC to run it. Not high end by a long shot, but like a medium. Your normal laptop might get a bit sweaty running it. And it's summer right now, so unless you want to get a new laptop, be careful with that.
Not officially, but it may as well be.
It feels like summer. So just turn down all the settings and sit by the window, and you might get away with it. Download it, play the tutorial campaign, get used to the controls. The tutorial and stuff is pretty good. The campaign will give you something to do. I'd recommend just jumping straight into a league with a team you want and just playing a bunch of games. Setting up teams is easy enough when you get used to it. They've got cool mixed teams, not Bonehead Bowl teams mixed, which is a bit of a shame, but
not quite that level.
Weird level ones, which is cool. Joining leagues is really easy as well. In fact, jump on and join ours if you're PC. If you're PC and you've got Blood Bowl 2 Bonehead Podcast Cup, we play Sunday nights and Tuesday nights. And whenever else you can get a game, just have a look through our Discord. On ease, Ben, Blood Bowl 2's got to be up there for you.
Yeah, I think this game it deserves the number one spot. Just like, you can get it in a Steam sale and it's really cheap. You can pick it up for about $5 if you can get it on sale, which it commonly is.
I think at the moment Legendary is £25, something like that.
Okay, at the time of record, yeah.
But that's the price of a Games Workshop team, and they keep not giving us one. So
you get, was it all the teams in Legendary Edition?
Yeah, except Khorne and Pact, Khorne and Renegades.
Yeah.
You get everything else, including Bretonnians and Kislev.
So that's pretty good value. Yeah,
it's great value. It's £1 a team basically. And that's cool. The AI is bad because it's AI, but it's still fun. It's way better than Blood Bowl 1 AI. You can still lose to the AI. It's the appropriate level of difficulty that you feel rewarded for winning. If you play real try hard, you can smash something 4-0, and that's great because then it just accelerates your league build. And then you can try this is what I did. I absolutely farmed it for Pro Elves and ended up with 4 catches with diving catch and a throw with Hail Mary pass, and that just
brilliant.
It just snowballs from there. It's not a great tactic, and I don't recommend running it online or on tabletop. But against the AI, where the games are kind of throwaway, that was great fun. You won't get to do that otherwise.
Yeah, games are really quick on it as well. Games and leagues.
Yeah, you can set the timers so that they're 2-minute timers, 2-minute turns, and works absolute treat. So on the challenge scale, you'll be playing real coaches if you want to play online with pretty great interface. The risk of misclicks is real, but it's even for both coaches.
Yes, it is.
Most of the information on the screen is clear, and if you're not rushing, you should be able to make the moves you want to. It'll even show you the odds if you're not all Han Solo about that kind of thing.
Which I really like.
I love that. The AI isn't terrible either. Sure, if you know what you're doing, you'll be able to win about 80% of the time. But there's always dice, and that just means you can make the riskier, more fun plays and get away with it. Blood Bowl on extra fun mode. Done.
So it's got really good animations too.
The animations are cool.
If you ever decided, if you wanted to know what a tree man looks like leaping, you can do that.
That's it. You don't get the opportunity to give a tree man leap too often on tabletop,
No.
but spamming games on Blood Bowl 2, you absolutely can. Cost. So at the moment, Blood Bowl 2 is £15 or $26 if you want everything except Chaos Pact and Khorne. So that's that's not bad. It's the same price as a Games Workshop team. We haven't had one of those for 75 million years. Yeah, I'm just reading my notes here on this, and yeah, I agree with myself there. The only reason I'm not giving it full marks for cost is that if you don't have a PC that can handle it, then it goes up from £26 to £426, which is slightly trickier. It's worth the money though for all the team designs you can do, solo play, online leaguing. I absolutely recommend this. In fact, I recommend all of them, including some that aren't on the list, like the Blood Bowl 1 iPad app. It's pretty clunky, but it's the only way to play Blood Bowl on a plane. So yeah, Blood Bowl 2, it gets top marks. If you can run it and you can afford it, get it. It will be the best way to tick the majority of your Blood Bowl needs, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can even play Blood Bowl 2 while you're painting, which is quite good fun.
You can, yeah, as long as the turn timers aren't too short.
It's in their turn, you can paint while watching the screen, which is pretty cool. Any final thoughts on any of those, Ben?
I think we're pretty comprehensive. Just find what works for you. If you don't want to spend any money, I think my pick is either Fumble or Roll20.
Yep.
But if you really want a good experience, Blood Bowl 2.
I guess it depends on what kind of Blood Bowl player you are. If you're straight rules pack kind of player, then actually Blood Bowl 2 is probably the best. If you like your variants and you like your different teams and you like just talking to people, then Roll20 is absolutely brilliant. I think I absolutely love playing it because it gives you an opportunity for an hour to sit down and talk to my opponent and just share failed dice rolls and bad tactics, and Yeah, really, really love that. So if you're out there and you're listening, those are the top 5 things we recommend doing to find ways to play Blood Bowl. And if you've got any ideas or you need any help with anything, just drop us a message on any of our media accounts or drop us an email, because actually we'd love to help. Join the Blood Bowl 7s community on Facebook, because there's instructional videos on how to set stuff up on there, because in your games group, I'm sure there's at least one person that's tech savvy enough to set it up, and then you just need that person to be the GM. And Ben, this is what I'm planning on doing with our group, hopefully, is just copying the game frames and just sharing them with the players so that they can play a game. And all you have to do then is, well, we've got this Discord set up for our group. Do this, we can watch the games. It should be really good fun.
Yeah, look forward to that.
Cool. Right, that wraps up our discussion on different ways to play Blood Bowl during the apocalypse. So yes, let us know your thoughts on that. Now, that does technically wrap up the episode for this week, although the astute ones of you out there will realise that there has been another episode on your feed, either today or a little bit earlier, a few days in advance, which was the first episode of Roster Rumble. So make sure you give that a listen and let us know what you think. Hopefully you enjoy it. There's still time to get your entries in for team designs, and we're currently doing Star 7's build, which is 700k, at least 7 players, at least 1 star player, and you get some skills too. Head on over to our website or one of our pages for full details, or check any one of our previous posts, because we'd love to see your ideas. We've had an absolute ton of ideas so far, like literally. We've got, I think, Ben, we've got enough entries now for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, honestly, loads. Really appreciate it.
Some great ones too. And this is the build we're doing for this season. We're going to be changing it up for next season. We've got a plan for that, which absolutely in no way ties into to Bonehead Bowl possibly not happening. But that will be the next one. So yeah, get your team design ideas into us for the Star 7's Roster Rumble. And hopefully you enjoyed the episode. But that is going to wrap it up for the podcast this week, this fortnight. Ben, thanks very much for jumping on and talking Blood Bowl.
Thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure, always a pleasure. And guys, thanks very much for listening. Let us know what you're up to. Keep in contact, and we will see you soon.
Bye-bye.